Hey, hi. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Goat Force Gaming channel, where we play the roguelikes and the roguelites every single time. Folks, it is always tremendous to be back out here with you again, taking another look at a really awesome roguelite tower defense game that I've found myself slightly hooked on, and by slightly, I do mean that I keep coming back to this game quite a bit. I've played several runs. I've had a great time in each of them. Win or lose, I've had a good time with it. I wanted to come out here again. The last run we did on the channel didn't go all the way. We still had a good time showing it off, but we didn't get all the way there, and I think probably could have done a little bit better with some of the maze setup. So I wanted to come back in. The other thing we're doing here is showing off one of the new characters that has been opened. This is Silas. And Silas is really interesting because we start out with these special coin blocks that you're seeing right here, the gold rune attached to that. So towers that are on those runes that get kills are going to give us extra coins. And coins and cost is kind of the focus of this character, because the other thing that's going to happen, and you're seeing this right now with the down arrows indicating that these towers are cheaper than normal. Every round, the cost of the towers changes at random. So there's a little bit of risk reward involved with this character, and he's very interesting the way he plays overall. Now, I'm going to say this at the top. This is a longer video. You may want to pause it right now, go get yourself a coffee or a tea, and get ready to just hang out, because that's what we're doing today, actually. This is a watch party. I am actually retaking in this footage myself. I did not record the commentary at the same time. I will admit to you, I struggle being entertaining and playing this game at the same time. Doing it this way allowed me to focus a little bit more on the maze building. And look, I think it paid off a little bit. I think so. We'll see if you agree in the comments. Feel free to light me up as much as you'd like. I've never claimed to be a video game pro, just like watching roguelikes. But you see what's happening here, okay? I heard Sabi B in the comments the other day saying, hey, Goat, if you do just one thing, do this. Don't build straight lines. Heard. So we're going to try to do a better job of that today. We have a number of topics that we're going to get into. I'm going to talk a little bit about the ridiculous foods that I had on the 4th of July. And to anybody that celebrated, I hope your 4th was tremendous. We're going to do a little bit of a channel update as well. I used to do these monthly, but I think probably better to switch those up to quarterly. It gives us a little bit higher level of view into what's going on, but we'll talk about all the usual activity and stats like growth and views and all that stuff. Here's a preview. It's really great. It's really good. That's thanks to all of you. Yeah, see, you got to be careful when you're putting these pieces down, because sometimes it really changes the overall flow. And to anybody that watched the last Emberward video, you remember that little mistake that I made. But I was a lot more thoughtful about just kind of placing pieces at random, whether they were connected or not, to expand a bit more, you know, on how we were pushing them out. And to Sabi B's point again, not going with a straight line, right? So I had a good time with it. I'll comment along the way here and there. I really do like those flying drones. I didn't know until using them for a while that they're actually aligned to the electric element. So that adds to their allure if you're trying to build in that direction. Just pushing them out a little bit further there. Now, a lot of the fun of this game is just creating an awesome maze and then seeing what kind of Kevin McAllister fueled rage you can put them through, right? We're going to get into an update on the channel as well, as I had mentioned, that will include an update on where we stand with the giveaways overall. And speaking of giveaways, I am happy to tell you that the video you are watching right now is rated G for giveaway. Yes, folks, that's correct. We are going to give away a copy of Emberward to one of you. And all you need to do to be eligible to get in on this is to be subscribed and leave a comment. That's it. That's all you need to do. You can comment on anything. You know, Steamfest still has a little bit of time left. The Summerfest, if you're looking for something to comment on. We always love hearing about potential pickups. Some of you have been really great about putting those in, and I'm confident that others have read your comments and then maybe went out and purchased the same game on discount and perhaps have added it to their wish list. So thank you to all of you that have been doing that along the way. But I will pick one of you that comments to win a copy, and then you also will be trying to make chaotic mazes for all these enemies to flow through. I don't know, I've been in a tower defense mood lately. I've been playing a ton of Orcs Must Die 3 with a good friend of mine. We've been having a ball with it. Apparently, there are multiple DLC packs that go along with that game too, and I wasn't aware. Cheers to you, by the way. I am taking a sip here. I've got some Starbucks Blonde Roast. And because this is a slightly longer video than usual, I've actually got some ice water on deck. I know, fancy, right? Out here with the ice water. Yeah, I was kind of going back and forth on where I wanted to continue to add complexity to what we were doing. And at the same time, being careful to not move their path out of the way of the other towers that you've set up, you know, so it's kind of this balancing act. I do love the missile launchers with their range. Those and the flyers, really, really good range. I always get worried when the big wolf dude comes, because he can do that whole smash thing. I realized at this point that I should have spent more time down by the fire crystal. Didn't love the outcome. But at the same time, I've put a lot of points into the meta progression and the chance for the treasure chests to drop. Yeah, I was going to do something over here. Pop a few more of those down. What I probably also should have been doing a little bit more was going through, and I'm doing that right now, upgrading the towers. That might have helped with that last go a little bit more. I do like that you can zoom in and zoom out, see everything that's going on. Larger health bar on those guys is always a little bit scary, but that one got zapped pretty good. If you give it enough time, the poison really does take an effect. But it's all about the time. I can't thank all of you enough for the support lately. I mentioned this in the post the other day on the 4th of July. We just recently passed 4,000 subscribers. What a time. I mean, gosh, I remember way back when we had 40 subscribers on this channel. What a time. I mean, we've come very far in, gosh, slightly over, very close to 4.5 years. I think I started this in February of 2020. I like these challenges that you can add to the next area you go in. And I felt, you know, with the challenge already, let's not go to the corrupted battle, because we've already added a component of needing to build these 2x2 towers. But this is where things get very interesting, very fireball packed, and I wanted to get that going as soon as I could, especially with the fact that they're on sale right now. Slightly, but I'll take, hey, I'll take any kind of sale. Kind of just wanted to take advantage of those extra rune situations right away as much as I could. Build up some cash. And then this area has that very interesting set of railroad carts that go around as well. And those are kind of fun. These are also boosted blocks. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Once you kick off the level, the carts start going back and forth, and it adds a really nice component to your strategy overall. Right? Pretty cool. So yeah, so we got to over 4,000 subscribers, and it's a mind blower. It really is. Can't thank you all enough for the support. And, you know, truth be told, I think we're just going to continue growing and growing, because this community is awesome. And what we do out here is really unique. You know, the cause that we have, we're coming together and doing awesome things for this community and beyond. And we'll get into what that means in terms of the beyond when I talk about some of the thoughts I have for next year at a high level, where we're gonna balance a little bit between the rated G giveaways that we do, and then the charitable part that I've been talking about over the years, you know, this goal of giving video games, the gift of gaming, to children's hospitals. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I was just thrilled to see that we had hit that milestone. There's a site that I look at called Social Blade, and if you go out there, you can, you know, type in information on any YouTuber, and they'll give you, you know, predictions and information about the channel, and, you know, they provide an overall rating. And so every once in a while, I'll go out and I'll look at the predictions, and it gives you a timeline for certain milestones. And, you know, me, at one point in time, I said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna write down these predictions. And at some point, I'm gonna go back and see how we're doing, right, against the predictions. Yeah, see, this is where you have to be very careful about changing the overall course that they're taking. I learned my lesson last time, folks. I did. So I wrote down these predictions, and I'm happy to tell you that the first one that I wrote down for, I believe the timeline was the end of June. We were supposed to be at a certain point, and I'm sorry, I misstated that. At the end of July, we were supposed to be at 3,900. As you're already aware, we have massively surpassed that. So we're ahead of somebody's schedule. And that's exciting to me. You know, I think we're doing really good. I think that folks are, ooh, there's a treasure chest. Love when those drop. So I know everybody was a little bit worried about the 3 out of 13, me included. But when those treasure chests drop, there's an opportunity to get a heart back. And I'm very focused on health right now, because I know that's an issue. So, as I take a sip of coffee here, second quarter channel update. We're doing really good. We're doing really good, and you know, everybody should be proud of where we're at as a community. I see it in the comments, and folks are so positive about what we're doing out here, and I love that. You know, sometimes I even hear from some of you via email, and you know, you talk about you know, how much you enjoy what we're doing out here, and I'm so glad to hear it. You know, I love doing this, and I'm glad that people really get something out of this. So we had a great 90-day period from April through June. We had about 155,000 views in that 90-day period. And that resulted in about 15,000 hours of watch time. Now, don't worry, I did the math for you. And if my math is right, I always put that out there, just in case, because I know somebody's going to double check me. That's about 1 million minutes. That's pretty incredible. I want to also say a nice warm welcome to the approximately 1,000 new subscribers that joined our community during that time. Some of you are still learning about what we're all about. Some of you are like, why is the goat telling us about this channel update? Yeah, I do these every once in a while. I think it's important to be transparent with all of you. You're all coming here to support this thing that we do, and I don't want there to be a curtain. You're all part of this, so we can get into it every once in a while, right? This is one of those times. So a lot of watch time happening, and that all that watch time comes together to create revenue. Because ads. I know, everybody's favorite, ads. Yeah, they're part of this, but we're doing cool things with the revenue. Part of that cool stuff, a big part this year, is the giveaways, the rated G videos. We have this goal of getting to 200 giveaways this year, and I think we've got a good chance of getting there or getting close to it. Currently, with the previous rated G community post that I just did, yeah, every once in a while we do a rated G community post. We are at about 86 giveaways. So yeah, we are slightly behind schedule, given that this is second week into July. But I have a plan. I think we're going to be fine. I think we'll still get there, or very close to getting there. And I think either way, we'll all feel good about what we do. I mean, look, 86 games given away from all of us to all of us. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Also, we are just killing it out here. And there's another treasure chest. I love it when those drop. There's another HP back. I don't hate it. And then we get all those cool cards as well. Yeah, now I just want to kind of take advantage of those power-up spaces. So we're going to get there. I have some thoughts, and I'll get into some of that in a moment. But revenue around this 90-day period was right around $557 US. And we had a month where, for the first time in the history of the channel, we had a month where the channel brought in around $265. And a lot of that was fueled by that Bullet Heaven game, When the Light Dies. The title was something to the effect of, is this the creepiest Bullet Heaven game? That video, and this also has never happened before, that video did around 40,000 views. Which is, for me, always kind of hard to determine. Was it the right place at the right time? Was it the title of the video? Did the algorithm just say, hey, the goat seems cool, let's bless the goat's channel today? It's always hard to tell. Boy, this horde is picking up in wave 6. But you see how fantastic those fireballs are. You just hate when they're 111 a tower, right? I think overall, though, Silas, who we're playing as, has been more of a help than a hurt overall. I really like those coin runes that he gets a ton of. Yeah, so that kind of wraps them around the whole damn thing now, which is great. And then I thought we'd build out around it. Yep, and look what's on sale. Perfect timing. So you just kind of try and build as many of those as you can. I'm looking like where I can add on to put another fireball down. Yeah. I mean, when they're on that deep of discount, like you gotta lean into it. So we continue to grow, and you know, if there's one thing that is very inconsistent and hard to plan for, it is the channel revenue piece. You never really know what the views are going to do. And again, sometimes it's a matter of being first with a game. Sometimes it's a matter of competition for a certain game. How many people are playing it. How much activity there is. Whose thumbnail is the best. You know, all those kind of things. Speaking of thumbnails, YouTube has done something pretty neat for creators where there's an A/B test. Really, it's an ABC test because you can give it 3 different thumbnails, and whichever one ends up being the most clickable during a certain period of time, you know, they'll choose a quote-unquote winner, and then that's the thumbnail that the majority of viewers are going to see. But you know, anything they can do to help. That was a tremendous stage for us overall. Very, very good. Got a lot of health back through those treasure chests. I have a hard time saying no to range. But with the fact that we've got the dart gun and it leans poison, I thought that made sense to do. Yeah. Sniper towers are awesome. They're one of my favorites currently. Now, this is in early access, so, you know, they're probably going to continue to make changes to it. Along the way, we'll probably get some additional towers. We know we're going to get some additional biomes as well. So it'll be interesting to see what they continue to add, but I definitely lean Sniper Tower and Fireball Tower. Good stuff. I'm sure you noticed too that the Sniper Tower is on deep discount these days. Can't remember if I took advantage of that right off the bat or not. Maybe I didn't. Oh, did the goat not see the Sniper Tower? Shame on the goat. Shame on the goat. Oh, that's all right. You know, especially with this opening wave, and I like what that they tell you what you've got coming, so you can see, you know, there's only 15 slimes. So, you know, of course, maybe I didn't need that Sniper Tower, but I'm still kicking myself for how much it was discounted. Fireballs are definitely doing the job. So for the rest of this year, I definitely want to continue with giveaways. And like I said earlier, get as close to that 200 giveaway target as we possibly can. And I know I've talked about getting to Hades 2. Some of you have asked in the comments, have I played Hades 2 yet? I have. I actually picked that up on Father's Day. Hey, there's the sniper tower purchase. Look at the range on that thing. Holy smokes. And so I picked it up on Father's Day and messed around with it a little bit for about an hour and a half or so. Wonderful game. I know I'm gonna just love it, but I want to wait for that one to bake in the oven just a little bit longer. And I'm thinking come maybe mid-September, October, that gives them time for one more chunkier update and maybe one or two smaller, medium-sized updates. I guess the next one they're working on is going to be a larger update. I'd like for all the weapons to be there, and for most of the story stuff and the stuff with the gods and the boons to be fully flushed out, you know, before I dive in. So anyway, I'm thinking mid-September, early October, and I think what I'd like to do, if possible, and I think it's gonna be, I think what I'd like to do is to have every Hades 2 video be a rated G video. I'd like to give away as many copies of Hades 2 as we possibly can. I don't think they're going to do big numbers, because again, you know, the whole competition thing comes into play, and it's a popular game, you know, so I don't know that they're going to do large numbers, but I do think that several of you will want to hang out and see some Hades 2, and yeah, I'd like to give away a lot of copies of Hades 2. It's a tremendous game. It's a slightly more expensive game than we usually give away, but, you know, the channel's been performing really well, like we talked about. So as long as that continues, we should be able to do that and hit our overall goal, or come very close to it at the same time. So I'd definitely like to do that. And we talked a little bit about next year, 2025. Let me give you a preview for what I'm thinking. You know, this year we really leaned in harder to the giveaways, because last year we did around 100 giveaways. This year we're shooting for 200. And next year I want to strike a balance between the giveaways that we do to this community and some of the donations that I've talked about doing to Gamers Outreach. Definitely want to start doing that formally in 2025 and start tracking that as well. If you're not familiar with Gamers Outreach, they do a lot with making gaming available and more accessible to children's hospitals. They make something called a go-kart, and it is you think of it as a mobile gaming solution that could work in a hospital environment. It looks similar to, you know, the old station that you'd pull up to at the Walmart or the Toys R Us or the Target, and where you could stand there and play a game for 10 or 15 minutes at a time. Remember when they had all those demo discs going? You know, when the new consoles would release, you know, you'd pull up for a little bit and go, boy, do I want to drop a lot of money on this? Kind of similar to that, but it's on wheels, and everything's hospital grade, and it's built so that, you know, they could pull it up to a hospital bed. So we're not at a point where we could fully sponsor the build of a go-kart, but we could definitely be at the point where we're donating funds to Gamers Outreach on a monthly basis, and I'd like to start by doing that. So I kind of want this balance of giving away games to the community, along with giving funds that the channel is producing over to Gamers Outreach, so that we can feel good about gifting games to our fellow community members and giving the gift of gaming and accessible gaming to those at a very challenging time in their life. And I think we can really feel great about that overall. So that's your quarterly channel update for those that were interested. Hopefully I didn't carry on for too long. I know not everybody cares about that stuff. I've gotten comments in the past that said, oh my god, you know, I skipped ahead in the video by 10 minutes and you were still talking about the subscribers and this and that and the other thing. I get it. I know. Some of you are just here for the gaming. Some of you really do like that stuff, though, where I get into the numbers, and so I've got to somehow strike a balance between both types of audiences. And sometimes that's just hard, pleasing everybody. But I try. I try. Hey, let's take a sip here. Cheers to you out there. And again, my heartfelt thanks for the support. I mean, we're really doing things, and we're going to continue doing cool stuff in the next year, and that's really, truly is all thanks to you. That's why we can do any of this stuff. Now we talked a little bit about 4th of July. My goodness. We were over at my mom and dad's. They always throw an awesome 4th of July party. And, you know, it took off a year or two during that yucky time in 2020. If you know, you know. Unfortunately, a lot of you know. In fact, might be 100% of you that know about the yucky time in 2020. We don't, I won't say the word, but if you know, you know. We took a couple years off of them doing that, but they have since gotten back to it, and you know, there's a ton of barbecue that happens. It's great people, great food. I love upgrading the range on the fireballs. Kind of ran out of money there, unfortunately. But you see, we have gotten back to 9 out of 13. Be happy about that. We're going strong now, folks. There's no stopping us. Just trying to put down blocks in real time. Look at that. Just giving them that much more of a slice of hell. Really great. Speaking of slices, I had slices of everything at this party. And, you know, my brother-in-law was there, and you've heard me talk about the brother-in-law before. We are both just terrible influences on each other when it comes to dietary stuff. You know, look at that. Now we've got full coverage. Sniper tower action. Just leaning into it. And I like to have a number of different approaches for the sniper towers between the frequency and the damage upgrades when I do the upgrades. I'm remembering last time where I didn't take advantage of the squares down there. Because at some point they're going to get close, like the game just catches you off guard in different ways. So you've got to prepare at the top and the bottom. It's a balancing act. And that's what makes it fun. Variability in the approach. It's my brother-in-law and I, you know, we happen to like the fried chicken. A lot of different varieties of chicken. Fried being the best, I would argue. Trying to decide how challenging this wave was going to be, and it's the final wave, so it's like, well, might as well use the cards. Just waiting for the right time because you get 15 seconds out of them. But this stage really wrapped up nicely. So he said, hey, Goat, you know, what do you think about doing some wings? I said, what do I think? How is that a question? Come on. Come on, we've known each other. Yeah, of course we should do some wings, you know? Take another sip there. Yeah, the speed rune, you know, I was thinking about the sniper tower, and that's why I also added the fire rune to it. Sometimes these are tough choices. But I thought, why not add some electric capabilities again, just in case a lightning rune should pop, because we've got, you know, the drone tower and then the missile tower, both of those lean electrical. And I looked at how much currency I had, and I thought, well, let's go with the path towards the shop, because that makes sense. So he said, yeah, I'm going to do some wings, and some of you will recall that for Father's Day, we had steak and ribs. Skirt steak, of course. I feel like I just have to add that because it's that much more delicious when it's skirt. Yeah, definitely gotta use those runes to the best of the ability. Yeah, and it's marked down. Big time, super cheap. I know, starting out with an expensive tower. Not always the best approach, but I had to do it. I mean, with the whole cost situation, why not, right? So my wife made this barbecue sauce that is cherry and chipotle, with mashed up cherries and all of these spices. It was incredible. Look at that range expansion. My goodness. It's gonna be nasty. So I said, hey, you know what? I have some of that cherry barbecue sauce left that I put in the freezer. Let's go ahead and use that on the wings, because it's gonna be great. Like, we might cave in some heads. It's gonna be so good. So he says, yeah, that's a great idea. And he also does a homemade garlic parm. And if you like garlic parm, holy smokes, it's just tremendous. And it's extra, it's very viscous. I'm going to use a $25 word. It is a viscous sauce. Very, very good. Sticks to the ribs. So, you know, he par-cooked the wings, and then when he showed up, we popped them in the air fryer just to give them that crisp. Holy smokes, folks. I mean, it was really, really good. And that barbecue sauce, I mean, it really popped on the wings. Really, really did. And I want to say that overall, between drummies and the flats, probably had, gosh, I'm going to say like 36 wings or so. I don't know how many pounds it came out to, but it was a decent amount. They were gone in like 15 minutes, you know? And we didn't have a gigantic group of people. But they were gone fast, and, you know, it was because they were awesome. Now, just at wave 2 here, even with it being corrupted, I remember thinking, we already have just a tremendous setup. And I think this was the first time I had used those electrical missile launchers, and I was blown away by the range on them. Really, really fantastic. But to have those sniper towers there already, really, really good. More range capability. Love to see it. And it was nice too, because with the side brick wall there, you could build on that as well. So you could count that as buildable space, which was really helpful. Sometimes I just have to like hold on to the pieces for a little bit and rotate them around and, you know, see what you can do with them. Yeah, look at that. Holy smokes. Just cover the whole damn battlefield. Why don't we? So the wings were just phenomenal, and of course they went over extremely well, like I was saying. And my dad has this meat shop that him and his buddy like to go out to. They have all kinds of stuff. But one of the central reasons they go, sometimes these wolves, just the speed at which they move. You gotta keep track of those guys. And even the small bees, you know, by volume, they can present a challenge. And look at how close they're getting. Holy cannoli. So one of the central reasons they go is the sausage at this place. It's phenomenal. They got all kinds of specialty sausages that they do. And there's one that we like quite a bit. It's a Jamaican jerk sausage. Actually, I say sausage. It might be a bratwurst, now that I think about it. Regardless, it is fabulous. Oh yeah, look at that. That just deepens the maze situation for these guys. Fantastic. It's one of the truly fun elements of this game. And I think I've gotten better. You know, we talked about avoiding straight lines at the beginning of all of this. That's kind of where we began. And I think overall, the maze capabilities have advanced. And between that and the meta progression that I've opened up along the way, we've kind of got that Goldilocks zone for the GOAT in terms of how the runs are going, I think. I'm slightly biased because, of course, I am the GOAT, right? So, of course, I would say, although I do admit when I make mistakes, yeah. So I guess it's a mixed bag, right? I think I had 2 of the Jamaican jerk brats. You know, a nice back of the throat heat on these things, but you get the sweetness up front with all of the jerk spices that are loaded into this thing. It's just, I can't recommend these enough. If you have a butcher somewhere by you, I'm trying to find a spot for another sniper tower if I can. If you have a butcher by you that does anything like this, I'm telling you, I think they're worth their weight in gold. Yeah, and we create another leg of the maze and have them walk around that thing while adding a cheap sniper tower. Really, really good. I think, I mean, we'd have to go back and do the math, of course, and nobody's going to want to do this, but I think that this merchant character saved us far more than he ended up costing us, when there were moments that I paid slightly higher. So I'll take it. I would play as him again gladly in future runs. That said, if anybody's interested in seeing more of this and the additional biomes, let me know in the comments. When you leave your comment for the Rated G video, let me know if you want to see more of this one. I mean, I'm gonna play it anyways. I think it's great. But if you want to see more, let me know. We've got a chest that dropped over there. These guys are starting to get closer, but you see the value of the sniper tower. Especially on these bigger guys. They do a hefty amount of damage. Now, you can't just go ham on bratwursts, right? You can't just have bratwursts. I mean, you know, look, I'd be fine with just having 3 bratwursts and calling it a day. But there's all this other good stuff to choose from. We also had a baked macaroni and cheese that somebody made. And so, you know, that's quite a time as well. That's that really is living. Did we have the crunchy breadcrumbs on top? That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. Yes. Yes, we had the crispy breadcrumbs at the top of the baked macaroni and cheese. There was a smoked Gruyere component to this mac and cheese, and it was glorious. It really was. So I hit up 2 servings of that because of course I did. Of course I did. That's a hurt me twice, if not 3 times situation. You know, we're talking mac and cheese. Yeah, might as well go with the additional heart and see if we can get back to full health, right? Got a lot of enemies coming in all at once, but overall, we're doing really good. And look at how fast that wolf is losing his health. One away from full. So a massive return to glory in terms of HP. Do you like a good ramen noodle salad? Because I definitely do. If you haven't had ramen noodle salad, look this up as well. It's got kind of a sweet Thai type dressing on there. It's very, very good. I had quite a bit of that as well. And that looks like a perfect spot for a fireball tower, doesn't it? I think I read my own mind there, you know, because of course I don't always know what I'm going to do. I'm rewatching this. Along with all of you. Take another sip there. So it was an epic meal. It was a really good barbecue. My mom also did sausage and peppers in the crock pot with red sauce. So if you're a red sauce fan with your sausage and peppers, you would have really liked this. And you know, she cooked the sausage for a while, and so it kind of melts in your mouth. It was absurd how good it was. A lot of great choices overall. All right, wave 7 or 8. Here we go. I think we're looking good in the goat neighborhood. My dad ended up making a pot of decaf to go along with dessert. And, you know, when we get together with family and friends, it's a ridiculous amount of options. Just ridiculous. So one of our family friends made something that she called bumpy cake. And I would describe this to you as a combination of chocolate and vanilla cake with 3 different types of frosting. And almost like a chocolate mirror glaze at the top. So it's very shiny. It's a very nice looking cake. And it was extremely rich. The coffee really went with it. You know, some of you really know about that wonderful combination of coffee and chocolate. If you know, you know, and you know in a big way. This has probably been your go-to for quite some time, right? It's dessert time. It's also coffee time. It's just kind of how that works, right? One hand washes the other, as they say. So I had, I don't know, maybe a piece and a half of that. And it was wonderful. And that same person made another cake. There was a second cake. It was a 2-cake situation. And the other cake was very similar to a coffee cake with light vanilla frosting. And that was tremendous as well. I was probably liking the... I'm just looking at these bees. They're getting close. The bees are getting close. Me furiously throwing down towers for the final wave as I saw the bees getting close. Didn't need that last one, but that's okay. We'll let it slide. Go. A clear is a clear is a clear, right? Ton of currency that time. Yeah, go greater range. Perfect. So I had a little bit of that cake as well, and then there were a couple different types of cookies. My sister-in-law did her famous chocolate chip cookies, and they were as good as they always are. And then you're probably thinking, what do you mean and then? How many desserts did you have? Well, I had a lot. I just kept coming back saying, hurt me again, please. Well, we're getting close, folks. Look at this. Now we're headed to the shop. And look, we've got 159 to spend. That's we can be a big spender at the shop. Look at this. Our combination of poison and fire finally comes in a big way. I kind of just looked at all the opportunities because, you know, you got to spend it while you can. I mean, we're not going to run into another shop. So just kind of took a good hard look at everything. So my wife makes these, it's like a salted caramel miso stuff that sits in between two of the large, my nephew calls them circle crackers, but you know, they're the larger Ritz crackers. If you know, you know, right? They're salty and delicious. Well, so imagine this miso salted caramel between those two with some chocolate on top with sprinkles. Okay? I had 8 or 9 of these. Over the course of time, they weren't all at once, but I will tell you, these things are better by the handful. And hopefully you got large hands so that, you know, it's a big handful. They're very good. By the end, I did not feel well. But it was worth it. You know, I mean, we've talked about this in the past where, you know, sometimes you look at the meal that you're about to have and you go, we are getting sick. It's just, you know, you just kind of accept it going into it, and it's okay. You'll get through this. Yeah, I wanted to back that one up so that we could put one of those fireball towers down while they're on sale, right? Got to take advantage of it. And of course, wanted to get some range action going. I was looking for a spot to put another fireball tower down, but I just didn't have the setup to support that. So the cookie and cake situation was just phenomenal. And from there, yeah, we just kind of hung out in the backyard, drank coffee, ate dessert. Ooh, are we about to get back to full health? I think so, maybe. Or maybe not. The fire boost with the speed is quite a good decision as well, in the general scheme of things. And I don't know, at this point in the run, I was feeling pretty confident. Hopefully you are too. If you've had a good time so far, do me a favor, hit that like button. And it allows more people to learn about this game and our community and the channel. Helps us continue growing so that we can do more of what we like doing. Yeah, that's a good looker. Now, slightly more expensive, that typical fireball tower that we go with, but willing to pay the price. I think at this point I was probably saying to myself, boy, I hope the cost of that sniper tower comes down. I'd like to plan for that. Then eventually we stopped the party in the backyard, and my dad and my brother-in-law lit up cigars, and we walked up to the area where they shoot the fireworks off, you know, in the town. And that was a really great show. It was a great 4th. Again, I hope you all had a great 4th. It was really nice getting away from work for a little bit too. You know, I was thankfully in a position to be off. Just kind of testing what I was able to get away with, and thankfully those single grid pieces between that and that cross piece, you just create an opportunity for a cheap sniper tower every time. Just push them back a little bit if we can. Again, sometimes I have to experiment and look at the line, and, you know, it can all take a little bit longer sometimes, but I learned from that last one where I got positively destroyed by a line I didn't even see. It went right into the fire crystal. Hey, there we go. 13 out of 13. So I've still been making my way through the games that I picked up during the Steam summer sale. Some of you have made recommendations along the way, like I was saying earlier, and I've actually wishlisted some of them. Some of them sound pretty neat. Look at that cheap sniper tower. There we go. You go with the second one? Of course. Of course. And we basically have the whole thing covered, and then I was like, well, how now can we make the path a little bit more difficult for some of these guys? Again, I think Silas really is a nice choice if you end up with, you know, a number of towers that you like that get discounted quite frequently. Can't go wrong. He's a good choice. Now let's speed it up until we get to a point where they're, you know, getting blasted on the regular. Did go back again, and I did another run in Source of Madness. I didn't record this one, but I did end up victorious against the Demon Worm, which was pretty great. I think I probably will do another video on that game. I'm still enjoying it quite a bit. I know that the look was off-putting to some of you, and I totally understand that. It's not going to be for everybody. I am also keeping an eye on that developer's next game. It's Midnight something or other, and it looks like it could be fun. We'll definitely want to play that when it comes out. In fact, I even made mention to that dev, hey, here's my written promise that I'm going to play your game the same year it comes out, because, you know, Source of Madness was back in 2022. It took me 2 years to get to it. We just had so many other games that we've been playing along the way. Great problem to have, right? Might as well take advantage of another poison rune, right? I also picked up Double Dragon Gaiden, which is supposed to be a roguelite version of Double Dragon. I'm super excited to try that out. Haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. We'll show that one off. And I also picked up Shovel Knight Dig. Now that was a mistake that I made right there. I thought I had created enough room for the Poison Bridge tower, but I was off by 1 square. Makes a difference. Yeah, I was a huge, huge Double Dragon fan back in the day. My buddy had a copy of the second Double Dragon on the NES. And there was that stage on a helicopter or a battleship of some kind. My memory's a little bit foggy on it. But you're up fighting in the helicopter, and the door is opening and closing, and you can kick the enemies and knock them down, and when that door opens up, they just get sucked right out. I think that was my favorite part of that game. No, we didn't need the additional sniper tower there, but so what, right? I liked what we had going so much that this was a slightly difficult choice. Look at that thing. What a boon. What a boon with all the fire towers that we've been using. Now we're just going to leave pools of magma everywhere. Perfect timing for the boss, right? Just wanted to take one last look and see if there's anything we wanted to unlock that might help for the boss. And then I thought, well, I'm going to play again eventually. Let's just help out the next run with some additional max HP. Now, this is very interesting, the way this operates. I really like this boss arena. You'll notice that we have the mobile carts right off the bat. Not just 3 of them. There's 6 this time. This thing's really come in handy. Basically, what you have to do is take out the boss before the waves end, and not die, of course. I thought overall my strategy would be to, you know, put the mobile carts down, get that going, but then also to push with none other than the sniper towers. Because eventually, that guy's going to creep his way down, and we know we can do a lot of damage with the snipers. Might as well start building out, right? No time like the present. Folks, I got one more sip left in my coffee cup. I'm going to use it to say a final cheers to you. That's a nice little start we built there. you got the carts doing their thing. You got people in the towers being terrorized and hopefully not set ablaze. Sniper tower is really doing its thing with the carts supporting along the way. But that sniper was quite the boon with the beefier dudes. Yeah, see, that's pretty great, especially with them being lower in cost. Now, later in the weekend, we ended up, every year my folks will send us the Omaha steaks for Christmas, and it always takes us a really long time to get to them. See those magma pools that are starting to happen out there from the fire blasts? And then they walk through those spaces and they lose more health. It's really great. Oh, those poor little red dragons. Got a decent chunk taken off the boss. So anyway, we got to Saturday, and I thought, you know what? We didn't really buy anything to cook. Why don't we just open up those Omahas? So I thought I'd sous vide them. You know, they were bacon wrapped fillets. And so I sous vide them to 125, which is basically a cross between rare and medium rare. And so I sous vide them for about 2 hours. And then I got the cast iron ripping hot on the stove. And I cut open the bag of steaks and drained them. And threw them on the cast iron. I went a minute aside. And my goodness, folks, these things just turned out looking so lovely. They were great. I mean, even right out of the bag, there was such a nice bacon smell. And you knew that flavor was going to be imparted into the beef. See, now we're doing a lot of damage. The bigger guy is coming, but we've got the sniper towers. We're getting a little bit close for comfort. But I didn't want to put too much back there because, you know, you have this focal point on the boss. I was thinking what we really need is the cost of the sniper tower to come down again. That's been a major theme of this run. But I mean, look, he's down to having a quarter of health left. Pretty good. If you've ever cooked the bacon-wrapped steaks, you know that it is usually a thicker strip of bacon that gets wrapped around. Some of them are even twice wrapped. Folks, if you are cooking the steak the way I did, I gotta tell you, cooking that bacon is so damn challenging. You've got to put the steaks on their side in the pan. Oh, we're getting really close here. Truth be told, I nailed the cook. It all worked out. Just like this is about to all work out. Oh, yes. Terminated. That was a hell of a run, wasn't it? I hope you enjoyed this. Again, I know it was a longer video, but it's enjoyable. This was an enjoyable run, and I hope you enjoyed the time. I can't thank you all enough for all the support. Let's do this again sometime soon. Have a great rest of your day out there. We'll catch you next time.